All right. Grand Rising, greetings, good day, and welcome to you all. You are tuned into the Peak Wellness Hour. You all hear me, I'm outdoors with my birds and with nature and everything. But we want to welcome you to today's episode where we'll be tackling a topic that affects millions of men. I'm sorry, I'm reading from my teleprompter, so I don't forget anything. That affects millions of men, but is still too often hidden behind silence, and that is men's mental health. For generations, men have been taught messages like man up, don't cry, handle it yourself, or even be strong. While resilience is valuable, these messages can sometimes prevent men from seeking the help that they need when they need it the most. So, today we're going to discuss the state of men's mental health, why many men suffer in silence, and how we can change the conversation. So make sure you all like, share, and subscribe. Definitely share. Definitely share for this message today. We're going to dive right into it. So you all stay tuned, and we'll begin in just a moment. All right, welcome back, everyone. Again, you're tuned into the Peak Wellness Hour. Before we begin on this important conversation on acknowledging Men's Health Awareness Month, we have very special announcements. You all hit that like button.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Oh, you're muted.
Edith's birthday. Happy birthday, Queen. Today is her birthday. She is over there hanging out. Doesn't she look fabulous, you all? She is bossing it up. She has graduated this year. She's celebrating her last year in this decade of her life, you know. I think she shared how old she was going to be, how young she is today, and all that good jazz. So if you want to tell the people and be proud that you've made it this far in life. Some of us don't make it into our 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, but she has made it, and she has made an amazing impact on the people that she knows, loves, and that loves her, that trust her. And you have invested time in us and the people, and we appreciate you and we love you so very much. So happy birthday, Queen. Happy birthday. And thank you for being here in your day. She got stuff to do, y'all. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Queen Kathy, Queen Mother Randa, and to all our loved ones. Thank you so much. Yes, today is definitely my 59th. I say it's 59th birthday, so the last year in the decade of the 50s. I'm getting ready to enter, I believe, the very best year of my life yet, right? So I'm so thankful for the gift of life. I'm very thankful for friends and family and loved ones. I'm thankful for I'm just thankful to God, for granting me these opportunities, so many opportunities, and giving me the wisdom to take it. I'm thankful that eventually I came to figure out what my purpose in this life is, and hopefully I have the life and the health and everything it takes to keep doing what I was called to do. I'm excited and I'm enjoying this life. The free thing is that I'm not sure, I'm not afraid. I've become bold and confident, and I
Yes.
say what needs to be said when it needs to be said. And that's the liberating part of being old or seasoned or whatever you will
Seasoned,
call it.
older,
But
wiser.
yes, right.
Yes.
I feel liberated. I feel so liberated. Nothing and nobody holds me back. So I'm grateful for everything. Queen, thank you for being part of my life and my ministry. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. And today, I have this young lady here. I don't have a title for her, but I call her my spiritual daughter because her mother is very much here, and she decided she won't let me stay at home. So while we're in Chicago, God willing, we'll see the Obama presidential what center. God willing, we'll see that. That's something phenomenal. And I can't wait. So, and she has a whole lot of things planned. So, well, I don't know all the details, but I'm happy to be here.
And
Thank
special
you.
shout out to Veronica. She's behind the scenes. I don't think she's gonna pop her face on. I'd love to see her beautiful face. But shout out to her. She is an amazing part of the
You're
Peak
good
Wellness
enough. You're
Hour.
beautiful enough.
Or excuse me, she's an amazing part of the Peak Home Care Associates. Hello, beautiful queen. Hello, hello, hello,
Hello. Hi. Hi,
hello.
beautiful people.
How are you, queen?
I'm well. How are you?
Well, thank you so much for taking care of this queen, this lady.
Oh, thank
Thank you
Yes, she
you.
so
does.
much.
She does
Thank
an
you.
amazing job.
Well, I'll let
Yes.
you guys be.
Thank you. We won't keep her too long. We promise we won't keep her too long. You all have stuff to do.
Okay, thank
Veronica is
you.
an amazing part of Peak Home Care Associates. They are
And
partners in side by
CEM Indiana and Edith's life. Like, basically. Yes.
yes, yes, yes. So shout out to her. I love the connection. We talk about Peak Home Care Associates a lot, and we've got to acknowledge that. And so that's how this began. And so on this Queen Special Day, we've got to acknowledge that. That's how we started, with this. And
Yes.
so she's an important part. She came in right on time and has just made moves. It's been a blessing to know her. So the people, Queen, that you are surround yourself with again are so amazing, and I'm so grateful to be a part of your journey. You are just a blessing.
Yes.
I'm just grateful to
Yes.
have you in my life. So thank
Yes,
you, thank you,
God,
thank
God
you.
has a way of bringing the right people at the right time, and the time will come when I'm gonna speak. But right now, I'm just thankful for all of you. You came in when I needed you almost, so thank you. But let's talk about the
Let's
man.
talk about the men. Let's talk about the men. We've been doing it all month, you all, and tomorrow is Father's Day. Told you all last week. The 23rd is my 19th anniversary, so we're doing a queen. This it's a holiday. It's a holiday month, so we want to acknowledge the men. We want to talk about men's mental health awareness. It is so important. All the men that we value, all the men that we empower, that we encourage. We don't discount the fact that you all are strong men, diligent men, but you all deserve to be acknowledged in your mental well-being, in your wholeness, in your holistic well-being, and that's what we want to talk about here today. So, Queen, go ahead and take it.
Oh, and I'm so sorry. I have to say this. I just want to take this opportunity also to say kudos to the Ghana Black Stars. Oh my God. They won gallantly. They won their match gallantly in Ghana. And listen, if you haven't seen the celebrations, go see how Ghanaians party. My oh my, go on YouTube, look for the Ghana Black Stars win with
Okay.
Panama and watch it. It's ecstatic. It's so euphoric, and you can't help but laugh and dance to all those Afro beats and stuff. So that was
Okay.
a very highlighted part of my week. It's been an amazing week, and congratulations, Queen, on your anniversary.
Thank you.
God is good. June is good. June is a great man. Let's all
It
go.
is.
But The question I want to ask is, you said something in the beginning. You said men really, because of the pressures of society, expectations of society, they tend to suffer silently, because if they voice it, then they're not man enough, right? That's the
Mhm.
mindset that we have carried men. So the question is, I want to ask everybody a question. Who checks on the husband who is carrying the financial burden of the household, whilst enduring privately, secretly, quietly the emotional struggles, the hassles, the beating down sometimes at the workplace, what he has to endure at work
Mhm.
to earn that money, that boss who speaks down at him, who checks on him? How do we receive him when he comes home from work? Who checks on the father who is trying to provide for his family while battling stress and uncertainty? Who checks on the male pastor who is encouraging everyone, praying for everyone, trying to lift everybody up, but maybe emotionally exhausted himself, and everybody thinks he's the next command to God, next in command to God, so he has no burdens, he has no fear, he has no pain. He's perfect because he's next to God. He prays and God hears, right? He prays so powerfully and you feel it. Who checks on him?
Mhm.
Who checks on that husband whose wife just had a baby, going through postpartum depression while he's battling, feeling left out, and having seemingly looking into his family as if he were the stranger. Everybody is gravitating towards the mother, the new mother. Nobody's checking on that husband.
Mhm.
How do these men, our fathers, our husbands, our brothers, our pastors, how do they make it? Who really sees them? This is a question you and I must ask ourselves as supporting systems to our men.
Mhm.
So many of us, when the man gets home, when the husband gets home, the first thing after greeting, hey, and then, oh, and we went to the hospital and the doctor said that this bill is not paid, and we meet them. Oh my God, with all the troubles at home. Not saying it's your fault, because maybe you have also been dealing with this all day whilst you're also working.
Mhm.
But we tell men to be strong, and sometimes we can't seem to appreciate the fact that they also have emotions, they also are going through something, and because they have to be the macho of the family, they zip it.
Mhm.
So I want to know, how are you encouraging the men in your life?
Mhm.
Queen.
I want to say this. Okay, so to answer that question, I want to give some signs and symptoms that we don't want to ignore. Okay, in order to answer that question, I'm gonna answer it personally when I'm done. So looking at let's look at emotional signs. You know, persistent sadness, hopelessness, feeling numb, loss of motivation. You know, we have behavioral signs, increased alcohol or drug use, or start of alcohol and drug use, isolation, working excessively, avoiding family and friends. Physical signs include sleep problems, fatigue, appetite changes, frequent headaches. I'm bringing these up because a lot of times we're so busy, and when you speak about relationship type things, and this being scenarios with husbands or spouses or significant others. A lot of times women are so busy that we think that we have, I'm busy, if I sit down, my mind's going, all these different things where we're programmed differently, men and women. So a lot of times we miss these signals, these little signs and symptoms, and they may be little small things, that we're missing. And so paying attention to these signs and symptoms, these warning signs, is the beginning of noticing how to care for that situation, how to acknowledge it first of all and be aware in order to care for those situations. Sometimes if I'm busy, right, because I am always busy, I'll watch my husband, I'll watch my king, and he'll be looking at me, and I can feel him looking at me. I'm on the phone, I'm on the laptop, and I'm working. I'm not just scrolling and jacking around. I'm doing something. We're watching television. It's something. It's a rerun, something unimportant, just hanging out, just passing the time, and I'm doing something else. And I'm watching and watch me. And after a while, I get to counting. Well, like, why do you keep looking? What are you looking at? Why are you looking at me? I'm just looking. Well, what are you looking at me for? I'm just looking. And then I watch where if it's repetitive, I just put the phone down, shut the laptop, and be aware and be attentive. Those little things right there. He doesn't have to say, I don't feel like you're giving me time. I don't feel like you're giving me attention. Paying attention to those things and correcting those things for me is very important. It's very vital for me to balance out a healthy relationship where I'm not having to pull out of him. Well, what's wrong with you? Why are you looking at me like this? Well, I'm just looking at you. Well, for what? Just keep going, and perpetuating something where, sometimes things don't have to be said. And maybe there's a reason why they're not said, because I might jump up and say, well, why do you, so then what does he do? Not look at me? Does he say, hey, I want you to spend time? Do I pop up? So just being mindful of those things. And that is what a relationship is about. That's what holding one another up is about, where you just kind of balance one another. So, I know, I'm not in the church anymore. I don't go to church, but there are times where I watch my pastor that watched me grow up, and I will, I'll hit a heart, a like, I've even gone so far as to reach out and say, hey, I appreciate you. I see you, thank you for speaking truth. Thank you for, your sacrifice, and his response was, I can't, people don't see that. People don't acknowledge, that they think that this is like Queen Edith said, like Pastor Edith said, this is what we're supposed to do. And we're supposed to be strong, and we don't need covering. We don't need protection. We don't need support, and that's a lonely place to feel, especially when as a man you're trying to uphold all these things, all these roles that require strength and durability and resilience without fail, without flaw. That is a very difficult thing. And after that, after I spoke to reach out to my pastor, I acknowledge his first lady. Out of respect. That's just the right thing. I'm telling y'all, when respecting men, respect their wives and their significant others. When you're appreciating men, be mindful of their significant others. I'm gonna leave it at that, right? But that's my answer to that, is how, doing that, just being able to comfortably, respectfully say, hey, I see you. Hey, how can I help? Hey, how can and just being aware of that. I'm gonna close my camera for just a second. My battery's going out, so keep talking, Queen. I'm gonna move around.
Okay. One of the cankers of our time is we're bringing work home, because we're working on computers and not necessarily being in an office. Okay, so work comes with us home. It's in our phones, it's in our computers, and we come home and we are not paying attention to what is going on around us. And sometimes, a lot of the time too, as a society, when we are looking for someone to help and encourage, we don't go looking up to the people who are above us. You don't look for your boss to help them. You don't look for your pastor to help them. You don't look for somebody up there to help them. But everybody needs help. And since our men are our heads, we think sometimes we assume they're okay, and we do not go out and look out for them. But anxiety in men is real. Depression in men is real. That's why you find out that in addiction, there's so many more men in addiction or using substances because they are not given the opportunity to express themselves. Okay, they don't have the opportunity to open up and express themselves, or they have a feeling that if they do that, then maybe they're weak, because that is the way society tends to look at them, or to judge them. And this is so important. And that's why men's mental health is so important in this day and in this season, that we pay attention. Queen listed some things. She listed different symptoms of men's mental health, knowing that something is on when they are silent. Okay, when they are silent and they are not speaking. Okay, when they bury themselves in work. Okay, when they are not themselves, it is necessary that we take the time to observe, we take the time to see, we take the time, because we are so much on our phones these days. Nobody's necessarily looking and paying attention, talking to each other. We are still looking down on the phone, talking to each other. We are still looking down on the phone, talking to each other. And so we are not paying attention. But men desperately desire healthy relationships. Okay, relationships that build and not beat them down. Okay, we say men don't cry, so they may not cry tears to shed, but inwardly they are crying. So it's so important that we realize that they're going through fatherhood pressure, they're going through husband stress, they're going through the question of, am I doing enough when bills are not paid? They're going through it. And one of the least realities is that many men are carrying unhealed trauma from childhood abuse, from neglect, from violence in our society, from communities, okay, from abandonment, from bullying, from loss. Men have a lot of trauma, a lot of traumatic experiences, both on the outside in the streets and at home. So I want to say this: we need to pay attention, pay serious attention. Sometimes some of these things show up in anger. They show up in anger. They seem angry all the time. They're hurted, and that is the only way they express it, and they sound angry, but they are hurted. If we will look beyond the anger and take a minute and say, what is going on? Brother, what is going on? Honey, what is going on? Pastor, it seems these days you're a little short. I don't know if you realize it. You seem a little irritable. Is everything okay? How can I pray for you? Like he said, she checked on her pastor. Not many people do that. Not many people have called me as a friend. People have called me as a colleague, whatever. But when someone calls me as a pastor, they're calling because of something else, not to check on the pastor. Okay, so we don't do that as well. Okay, and it's not only right now we're talking about men, so let's just focus on the men. Every time, most of the time, when we call our pastors, it's because we have a need and we have a problem, not because we want to say, Pastor, how are you doing? What is going on? They isolate. You find them isolating a lot. You find them say, if there's a family event, as if they can avoid it, they will not go, because they don't feel like they are men enough, because in their heads they are not doing enough. Something is going wrong in my family. They're wayward child, and they keep questioning themselves. Bishop Kofi, welcome and God bless you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. They keep questioning themselves. And so it's important that as the women, as the supportive system, we see this, we recognize this, and we find a way to speak to their heart. Because as much as we need the comfort, they need it too. They're human. They are human. They are not superhuman. They are human. A man with a strong, almost scary exterior. Some of them are still babies inside. And if we can find a way to get through to them. Okay. Yeah, Queen.
Absolutely. I know I was looking at some statistics and it was talking about even like with the suicide approaches. It said, let me go back to find it because I think this is a big deal. And I know I've had a situation here recently with a gentleman um, that just didn't feel like his life was worth it, and I'll leave it at that. It was a very traumatic situation, and he's all right. I'll say that. But it says men account for nearly 80% of suicide deaths in the United States. And I know we're not
80%.
80%. Yes. Um, it says male suicide rates are approximately 4 times higher than the female suicide rate. I know we're not supposed to use that word on social media anymore because we don't want to get struck down or whatever these weird rules are. But this is a word that needs to be talked about because it's not
Right.
bad. It's not a dirty word. It's a situation where somebody's life is in the balance, literally. And they're taking things into their own hands, so it seems. But there's really a lack of control in that overall life. There's a lack of value. There's a lack of importance. There's a lack of relevance to self in those moments. And that's something to not be played with. That's not something to rearrange how we pronounce the severity of what's going on. It's bad enough that there are more women on the planet than there are men. We make jokes about it. Women will stress the men out and they just die off because they just, we joke about it. But look at the men that we have in operation right now. There are a lot of stereotypes about different types of men in general. There's a whole lot of stereotypes. We're quick to knock down, but we won't build up. We won't hold accountable either, but we won't build up. Here's my question. Where are the strong men that are strong enough to say that I'm vulnerable, that I have issues, that I'm flawed, and let me help another male? Where are the men that can support other men? Because it's one thing to have, women therapists, women counselors, whatever, women pastors, spouses in these men's life. But sometimes a man needs to talk to a man to make it make man sense. I can't tell a man how to feel no more than a man can tell a woman how to feel. In general, yeah. But when we don't understand those emotions, so where are the men? Because I know they're out there and we have to stop pretending they're not. Part of the problem is I feel like men don't feel like they're vulnerable enough to say, hey, this is how I feel. Hey, I love my wife. This is, instead of in a club or a bar and looking at women and all these men are married, can we sit down and say, well, I'm looking at these women because my wife really gets on my nerves. I don't know how to communicate with her. How do you communicate with your wife? How do you make it work for you? I know this is what we're here for, but how do we make this thing work? How do I communicate effectively? If you're dealing with other men that can't have that conversation man to man, you probably don't want to be hanging out with them if you're looking for empowerment and strength and stability in your life. Those men are out there. And again, shout out to the Black Men's Group, BMG, on Facebook. There are plenty of people like that. We just have to be, all of us have to be able to be open and honest and real and be vulnerable with the right people, to support you. So, yeah.
Whilst you say that, you raise very important points that both sexes can come in and undergird every single one of us, because this is so important. And whilst you were listening, I talked about anger, I talked about isolation, I'm going to talk about workaholism. They bury themselves in their work as well, right? And addiction, alcohol, drugs, pornography, gambling, overeating, not because they're weak, but because they're trying to numb pain again. They're trying to numb pain again. Men will not easily step out and ask for help. A man who asks for help is really a strong man, not a weak man. Okay. A man who is able to ask for help is a man who has come to himself, knows who he is, and knows when he is weak. Biblically, the Bible says that God made the man a help meet, and sometimes help is just being present and observing, okay, and being available enough for your man or the man in your life. Could be a pastor, could be a friend, could be your brother, could be your son, to be able to come to you and open up and say, this is how I am feeling. This is what is going on in my life. Sometimes they need you to be present. Okay, we get too busy sometimes, and as a family, we need to put our phones down. We need to have a phone down moment. Husband and wife need to have that period, that time in the day, be it an hour during the day, be it 15 minutes, and checking genuinely with each other, not checking superficially. Let's talk about the difficult things. Let's talk about what is eating you. Let's talk about how you're feeling, really feeling, and let me listen without judgment, without taking it personal. Sometimes it feels like it's an attack, but that's how they feel. And allow them to feel and express it without making it about you. That's the problem with communication. Every time someone, especially someone we are very emotionally connected with, they start saying how they're feeling, we begin to take it personal. And so the key was, last week talked about the communication, which is so important. Listen, many of us are in relationships, many men are in relationships, but they are not really connecting. So they are turning to pornography, they are turning to fantasies, gambling, anything that will stop them from thinking. Men tend to carry women a lot. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about menopause, okay? And this week, I was listening to this guy talking about perimenopause. We can start from the age of 35 years. And if you are married to this woman, perimenopause is a very difficult stage. That's one of the most difficult stages in marriage. And we expect our men to understand and learn to relate to us. And they have to carry all those things. And who is taking care of them? Who is taking care of them? And let me not say society is beating down on men. When women say he needs to know, you expect your husband to be able to read your mind, know how you're feeling when you are not effectively communicating. What about him? What about him? Let's sit down and really talk and talk and talk and listen to the heart, and sometimes listen to what they are not even saying. You must get to a point where we know our spouses well enough. Well enough. And yes, they needed to have their male counterparts, male friends, male mentors, male colleagues, males in their lives who can speak to situations, who have been through what they're being through, what they are going through right now, so that they will get wise counsel. Not everybody will give wise counsel. And this is where you need to be careful who you talk to as well. Identify one or two people who you know they will give you wise counsel, whether it's in marriage, whether it's on the job, whether it's in the business, whatever it is. Have that person who can give you wise counsel, so you don't make foolish mistakes and foolish choices that will ultimately destroy the trajectory of your life.
Yes.
But above all, I will never stop saying this. I'll never stop saying this. Have a counselor. Have a counselor too. Because not everybody has the capacity to carry what you're dealing with. And we, as much as we need help, we also don't want to burden our friends, our loved ones, our colleagues. Okay. When it's becoming too much, you know that this is getting a little deep, a little intense. Seek professional help. Okay, so you can keep your relationships as good as they will always be. And one of the things that's important is that maintain respect, so you can maintain the respect, because sometimes talking to the wrong people will make them look at you also differently, and that's one reason men won't talk at all. Okay, so let's know who we are talking to. Okay, Queen.
Absolutely. And if you look, if speaking of counseling and getting support, proper support, in the beginning of, if you're on the Peak Wellness Hour YouTube channel, please be there next week. Wherever you are right now, stay where you are to listen. But next week, make sure you go to the Peak Wellness Hour YouTube channel. Make sure you don't miss any of these links. But I put in some links at the top of the comments for men's mental health. So you all look at that. There are different resources when it comes to. You can click the link in the comment section. That's why I said make sure you go there and look. And they're on the Facebook page too, but I know they're on the YouTube channel. But look at those resources. Share them with someone. There are different options as far as screenings, men's support, and all those things. So make sure you all check that out. And again, those are posted at the beginning of the comments on the Peak Wellness Hour YouTube page. So check those out, please. I'll tell you what, piggybacking off of what you said, Queen, I know here recently, like I said, my anniversary is the 23rd. And so for the month of June, Father's Day, we've been talking about men. We went with the women last month. And I said to myself, I am going to level up. I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to be a better version of me, and part of it is, you always want to, some people don't like the word change, but you always want to grow and evolve, for yourself first, right? But a lot of times we don't recognize that change and that growth and that empowerment affects other people. We're always 6 degrees of separation. So when we're doing the right thing, it affects others when we're not, even if those people are not directly in your path, our choices have repercussions, and they span beyond what we imagine. So I said, this is going to be a good starting point for me to just kind of level up, just do some things different, change my mindset, just refresh self. And part of that was for my husband, for my king, for my marriage. And those are separate things, for my husband, but for my marriage, it affects my children. For my king, it affects us, so there's different aspects of that. And just doing the right thing and not saying, hey, look at me, this is what I'm doing, just changing, just growing, and just being accountable and more aware of things for the betterment of self. I talked to my king the other day. He says, I like the new you. I like the 2.0 you. He says, I focus better when we're on our game. I sleep better. I have less stress when you're not stressed, because when you're stressed, you're stressing me out. It's not even directed at him. My stress is stressing him out. When I'm not focused and well balanced, now he's not meditating. Now he's sitting here looking at me on the side, and this is how this works. And so I'll tell you, when you make that choice to, especially in relationships, to better yourself, to humble yourself, to submit. We don't like that word in relationships, but it goes both ways. When you submit to yourself, when you die to yourself, to live for self, to live for something greater than you, it makes a huge impact. So if you are in a relationship, women, it is a duty and a responsibility to do better for your mate. And that goes for men too. It is your duty to do better for your mate. That is how that works. So I'm proud to say that that's where I am. And I'm not boasting about it. I'm grateful that I had the wherewithal and the strength to make these steps, and it's one day at a time. So today, and it's anniversary week. I can't go flying off the handle next week because the honeymoon phase is over again. This is a lifestyle. Empowerment is a lifestyle. Mental well-being is a lifestyle. Holistic well-being is a lifestyle. My Queen Mother said something the other day. I'm gonna mess it up. Queen, if you want to put in the chat, Queen Mother, what you said. Something like happiness is not a result. It's a choice. It's not a result. So I don't think that's what it is, but basically, in a nutshell, it's not a result. It's not where I do this thing and it's gonna make me happy. It's a choice. I choose joy. I choose peace. I choose happiness. And it's not because I'll be happy if this thing happens. I'll find joy and peace if this thing happens. No, despite everything, I want peace. Despite everything, I want happiness. Despite everything, the consequences always it has to be peace and joy. So when we're trying to artificially make this thing and we are not that thing, it's disruptive. So you can't say I'm fine and you're looking like you're on the edge of breaking. Well, hey babe, how you doing? I'm fine. Everything's okay. Everything's all right. Nothing's wrong. And you just leave that thing alone. Well, he said he's fine. He said he's all right. He said there's nothing wrong. When that thing is not true. Are you invested or are you not? Are you in it or are you not? Actions will always speak louder than words. Don't let someone get to the point where they're breaking before you say, well, he has been acting kind of weird all month since he turned 40. He's been acting strange. Well, he's 42 now. Didn't dawn on you that this midlife crisis is right now life? It's not midlife. It's right now life. So let's think about that when we are protecting our men, when we're protecting ourselves, women, cover self, cover our men, cover our young men, cover our boys, our youth, because they're going to grow up to be these grown men that are nobody's children and nobody's babies anymore. Queen.
Thank you so much for saying what you say that. And that is why we are connected. We are interconnected and connected. There is no way you do for you and you do it alone. Our lives are so connected that we affect each other. And I will never stop saying that COVID taught me when contact tracing became a thing. You know what? Once they find out you probably have COVID, what they did was, who have you been in contact with? Who has come around you? And that is life. Life, we affect each other. And so it is important that you work on yourself. Okay, that's why it's important that we all work on ourselves to bring our best self into our relationships. Otherwise, when we come with unhealed trauma we haven't processed, situations we haven't dealt with, we let ourselves bleed onto the next person we are in the relationship with. And I'm not talking only about romantic relationship. I'm talking about your work relationships, how you show up at work. People walk into work and colleagues ask, what is wrong with you? It shows right all over you, all over your body. It shows what is wrong with you. Are you okay? It shows. So we affect each other. Our moods, some people know very well how to hold it in, but when they begin to open their mouth to talk, while they are speaking, with the things they're saying, the shortness that seems to come out of them. You can see that they are in pain and they haven't dealt with it. So we are bleeding and we are making everybody hurt because of us. It's not only in romantic relationships. So it's so important we work on self. It's so important that we get to the point and we stay in the process of growth and maturity every day, learning to be better self every day, because we bleed onto and into each other in every relationships. So what Queen is saying is so true and so on point, that when I do well for me, like your husband said, when you're stressed, it stresses me out. It is reality. We are in either each other's space. So it's so important that we work on ourselves. It's so important we do the inner work, grow, develop, be better, mature, so we can affect positively 90% of the time. And when we can't affect positively, the people we impact with that negativity or that pain is very minimal. Okay, so we don't destroy the path we are walking on. We can always look back and know that we've left a great trail. We set a good pace behind us, and we continue to do that. So it's necessary that you do the work to develop. It doesn't come easy. It does not come easy. It's work, and we must work on ourselves, the way we communicate, the way we carry ourselves, our trauma, know ourselves. In other words, be self aware. Be self aware. This is so important in developing and helping and being present in our relationships. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And have some fun with it. We think mental health and seeking mental balance is a dreadful thing, but it's really not. Have some fun in it. Find ways to discover yourself in a different manner. I like being outdoors. My husband, my king, not so much. He sat outside outdoors with me yesterday for over an hour. It was a nice breeze. Now, when it gets hot, he's not playing that. But I told him, I said, we can, if you want to sit out here, we can watch something amazing. Speaking of amazing, if you all look in the comment section, there is a link to the Gaia video. It's called Mars. What's it called? Mars and Venus at Work. So that's talking what Queen Edith's talking about with the workplace issue. That's talking about men in the workplace and dealing with stress and whatnot. But, just finding different things to do, where I like being outdoors. He doesn't. So we compromised. I said, well, we can watch something educational, like on Gaia, right? Mars and Venus at Work. We can watch that. How about we put the projector outdoors, right? Grab a snack. We do a little picnic out in the back. We're not going anywhere. We grab a little picnic out in the back, and he'll sit outdoors with me, grab a glass of wine, just kind of hang out and just chill out. That's compromising. So now I'm not mad because I'm in the house doing the very thing I can do outdoors. Those are healthy ways to compromise. He doesn't like to get up early in the morning at 6. Well, I'm up, and that's when I go walking, because I don't want to be out in 80-degree weather with the sun beating down on me. I love black melanated skin, but I will bake out there in that sun. Let me tell you something, okay? I like the shade I am. I will bake and burn out there in that heat in 80 degrees at 4 o'clock. So he's compromised, and he gets up and walks with me. And he says, well, I really wasn't getting up. I said, baby, if you don't want to get up, you don't have to. But he saw my commitment. And that's something I've had to change. I've had me getting up every day and walking, that commitment. That's part of my growth thing. I'm leveling up. So he says, hey, babe, well, I really don't want to get up, but I'm going to get up and go. He doesn't complain about it. Then, and we do that thing. And that's time for us to talk, to enjoy nature. There's no interruptions. Those are compromises. That's how you build together. So it's therapeutic. Now we can talk. There's no distractions. We're walking. We can talk about whatever. We can talk about being healthy. We start about with the heart rate. Then we talk about the mind and mental and all these things. That's a way for us to have effective communication. Right? So there's different ways that you can implement therapy and counseling outside of just going to sessions, which people need to do. But when active sessions, what are you coming home to do? What are you going back to reality to do? Are you implementing these tools to live a better life? And those are just ways you can do it. you know, especially in a relationship. So, yeah.
Someone might ask, what is mental health? We're talking about men, so I use a car. A lot of men love cars, and you should see a man who loves his car. My goodness, the way they take their time. One day I was at the grocery store, and this man had just finished putting grocery in his car, and he has a rag, and he was wiping the door handles. I said, Lord, I need this man. I love my car, but I don't do what he does. They make sure the oil is changed right on time. They make sure the tire, the wheels, they on top of it. So that why? It's not so much the car will shine and glow, which happens, but so that the car will function at its optimum best. Mental health, it refers to our emotional, psychological, and social well being, and what we are doing to ensure that we have the right mindset,
Mm-hmm.
which affects every behavior, perception, the way we perceive situations. And the mental health counseling is that talk that fine tunes how you view the situations in your life so that you will make healthy choices. Okay, so you will look at it in a way that is not detrimental to your health.
Mm-hmm.
And we look down on it, and we have this thing that any person who is going to talk to a counselor is cuckoo, but reality is it's checking in with self,
Mm-hmm.
checking itself. And I say this, that our men, we need to encourage our men to have that me moment where they check in with self, and not sitting there stressing and worrying, but checking in with self, saying, Edith or King Kevin, how am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
What is my body telling me? Why am I frustrated? Why am I so critical? What is really going on with me? Check in with yourself. Learn to love themselves. Learn to love themselves. Make time for them. Let them be their own lovers so they take care of self. Okay, they take care of themselves. I was thinking about this, and I'm thinking women go through menopause, women go through menstrual cycles, women go through all kind of hormonal. Men get to a point where their libido is not as it used to be. Do we know that emotional torture? This midlife crisis where you find out that a lot of men are cheating with younger women. It's not so much that's what they want, is they want to check in to make sure they are still man enough.
Mm-hmm.
And if we make them feel that they are not man enough in that even area, already they are panicking about that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I probably will not be able to satisfy her like I used to. And so they're stressing, they're worrying, and they won't tell you. They're hiding the blue pill, they're hiding all kinds of things, and they're coming strong, and it's affecting their heart. All these things are things that affect them physiologically, psychologically, mentally, socially. I'm scared I can't satisfy my spouse. So they're dealing with something as well. We call it midlife crisis, but I do know that there are biological names for it. I think we've talked about that before on this platform. So they're also going through something. A sickness happens. A sickness happens. Sicknesses like diabetes and blood pressure, and the medication also takes away their sexual strength. And so they are thinking, and we are not doctors, right? No medical advice, right? I'm just saying that's what, by experience, I know. They'll say this thing will kill your libido, so they don't want to take it. And we don't understand why he's not taking the pill. And we get up and you don't take your pill, and da. But they know why they're not taking it. There's a fear somewhere. Anxiety is real with our men, and they show up brave and strong, and they hide the things they have to do to make sure you are satisfied sexually. Some even struggle to talk to their doctors about it. So being present and having such conversations in real time with the men in our lives go a long way to boost their morale, to support them, to let them know that this woman really is bearing me up. This man, these friends, The Forge, I will always recommend that movie to you. For men, The Forge. I think that a lot of men should watch it. Powerful resource of men supporting each other, coming together, supporting and helping the younger generation, seeing beyond the anger, seeing beyond those behavioral issues, and just embracing each other. Like the Black Men's Group, too. Our men are dealing with a lot. Our men are dealing with so much. And some of the things they're dealing with is us as women. How are we? I use the word undergird because it kind of paints the picture for me more than the support. It kind of holding me up. They're strong enough because you can't partner with somebody who is weaker than you. That is true. That is true. When you're lifting a table, you want somebody of equal strength to help you lift the table. So since they are capable of holding me up when I can't. The Bible says it's good for two to walk together. When one is cold, the other will warm them up, and vice versa. When one is weak, the other will be strong. But sometimes we want to be weak and want them to be strong 100% of the time. Doesn't work that way.
It does not. It does not. I don't even know what else to say. I don't know. Yeah, we've got to hold one another accountable. We have to hold self accountable and give. I say this all the time. Give some grace and mercy to self
Mm-hmm.
first. Give grace and mercy to self, and give it to others. Never assume what something is supposed to look like for somebody. It's not fair, it's not right, it's not healthy. Sometimes if we don't mean well, and a lot of times we mean well, and somebody say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Sometimes we just need to just be quiet. I'll leave it with this. I don't know if you all recall this situation with Terry Crews, the actor Terry Crews. um Big man, big man. I think he's bigger than my husband. My king's 6'3". This he's bigger I know he's bigger than my husband, but I don't know about the height. But this grown big Black man was groped and sexually assaulted at a party with a bunch of other celebrities. And you know what we did? You know what a lot of people did? We dogged him out. Said, what a waste of muscle. This big, Black, strong man let somebody violate him, disrespect him, mistreat him. I was confused. I made comments when I first saw it. I watched an interview not too long ago, and he talked about the mental dis-ease with that. When things happen to you, when you're supposed to be this big, strong, whatever, the mental breakdown, the mental anguish that he experienced. And on top of experiencing something traumatic, having people look at you and say and attach this big, strong, big, strong, muscle this. This is a grown man that was broken by somebody's horrible actions. But because what we saw in the outer shell, this is how he was supposed to be. Everybody's not 6'3", 240, big buff. You have everyday people walking around here being put down, let down, abused, misused, overlooked, mistreated, but they're supposed to act like this. Treat people well, and it makes all the difference. Talk to somebody every day. Say, they don't, this person doesn't like when, every this king, queen thing, it's just a fad, it's just a facade. Let me tell you something, when I say it, especially when I don't know you, and I pass you, and you open the door, we just make eye contact and just show some respect. Maybe you're not royalty-like. Maybe you're not a king or queen, but I see how it changes the reaction because you don't think somebody would address you like that, because you don't see yourself as that thing. Somehow you imagine yourself as less than. And then when somebody sees you like this thing, oh, it's a fad, it's a facade, I'm telling you right now, when I say it, when I see you and I say it, I know you, I see you. If I don't know you, I see you and I see potential. I'm planting seeds for a potential. So maybe next time you won't let somebody call you something out of sorts. If you don't want to be called king or queen, they don't call you something out of sorts now. It plants a seed. If I know you and I call you by name like that, it's because I know you. If I know you and I don't address you like that, there's a reason for it. See, let's plant seeds that grow harvest. We need a harvest of mentally strong men. I don't care how much you bench press. I don't care how fast you can run. I don't care if you can push cars. We need some strong, mentally balanced men and women, boots on the ground today. That's what we need. We need strength in mental well-being. And that's what we're calling for here on the Peak Wellness Hour, is strength in mental balance. You're worth it. We're worth it. Tell yourself I'm worth it. I'm worth it. Mentally well, okay? Mentally sound. And even if we go off the hinges for just a second, we know how to close that door back up. Make sure them hinges work. Control them hinges, okay? You're worth it. We are worth it here on this platform. Everybody in this audience, because I know who I see you. I see you. Thank you all for being here. We know you're worth it and you're worth it. And thank you for seeing that we are worth it. We try. We don't have all the answers, but we try to make it worth your wow because it's worth ours. So with that, I'm going to stop talking. Make sure you all get in this Queen's comment section on Facebook. Find her on Facebook. Follow her. She's got all kinds of good information, all good kinds of good positivity. Wish her well. Wish us both well. We wish you all well. We are rooting for our men. Happy Father's Day to you all. Even if you are not biological fathers, those that do the work in the community, that oversee our young men and women, our young boys and girls, we commend you. The grandfathers, the decent uncles, right? The cousins, the family friends, the decent family friends. We see you and we appreciate you pouring into the next generation. Pour into one another. Build one another up, men. We need it. And there's something so special about that. There is something so nice about seeing grown men get together and fellowship. It really is. Women do it all the time. Be cackling and gossiping. It's nice to see men do decent things. Okay, y'all check out the silver foxes too. I'm trying to get my husband to be a silver fox. Those look like some men that I want my husband to hang out with.
Ooh, I like this.
So, y'all find my husband on Facebook, on Kevin Tardy on Facebook. Tell him to go ahead and apply for that silver fox position. So let's love on our men. That's all I'm gonna say. Queen, take us out. Happy birthday to you again. Y'all drop a comment to this queen for her birthday, graduation, just great things, entrepreneur, business professor in her own right? Where's King Sean? Yes. So let's just celebrate. Let's celebrate and let's empower. It's time for that. Let's do it the rest of the month. We only got so many days left. So let's do it. Queen, take us out so you and Queen V can celebrate. Y'all wish her protection in Chicago. We love you. Take us out, Queen.
Listen, family, imagine your car's dashboard, when something is wrong or the way we know sometimes something is wrong is when the light comes on, right? And the same with our mental health. When you see your man isolating, when you see a little bit of unusual irritation or irritability or anger or shortness, or maybe he doesn't want to go to that family outing, or he's staying in bed longer, so burying himself in work and all of this. Those are all the lights coming on the dashboard. I encourage you and I, when we are with the people we love or the people we even work with, let us learn to be fully present. Multitasking has its time, there's a time for it. There's a time to also stop and connect. And sometimes what our men need is the connection, is looking into our eyes, we looking into their eyes and letting them know that we see beyond the hard looking exterior. We see them as humans. We recognize them. Take a moment for those who don't mind and give them hugs. Oh, that real good hug does a lot of magic. We were not created to live this life alone. The male man was created first, was formed first, lived on earth first. But the creator noticed there was no way he would survive alone. So, as women, not just as wives, as women, let's see the men around us, whether they be our pastors, whether they be our presidents, whether they will be our fathers, whether they be our colleagues, whether they be our sons. Let's see them. Let's encourage them. Let's lift their heads up. Let them know that it is as only a strong man who is able to say, I'm hurted, and not a weak man. So I say this to you. Mental health is about having emotional, psychological, and spiritual capacity to navigate life's challenges, the ability to handle stress in a healthy manner. So check yourself. How are you handling the situations that are coming into your life? And as the undergirders, how are we looking, seeing, and supporting? We want to end on this platform by saying, Queen has already said it, but I want to add my voice to it. Thank you for the sacrifices. It doesn't take only biology to be a father and a mentor. It takes the one who is stepping up, who is right there in the battlefield with all of us. So we see you, we appreciate you, and we love you. Thank you for showing up in spite of and because of. Happy Father's Day. Enjoy an amazing day. And may the people around you help you see and know that you really are a valuable asset to the family and to the community. We thank you so much. Until next week.
Peace, love, and blessings.